Chapter 11. Solomon, why are people so mean? Sara pleaded.
Are all people mean, Sara? I hadn't noticed.
Well, not all of them, but lots of them are, and I don't understand why. When I'm mean, I feel awful.
When are you mean, Sara?
Mostly when someone is mean first. I think I sort of just get mean to pay them back.
Does that help?
Yes, Sara offered defensively.
How so, Sara? Does paying them back make you feel better? Does it turn things around? Or take any meanness back?
Well, no, I guess not.
In fact, Sara, what I have seen is that it adds more meanness to the world. It's a bit like joining their chain of pain. They are hurting, and then you are hurting, and then you help someone to hurt, and on it goes.
But Solomon, who started this awful chain of pain?
It doesn't really matter where it started, Sara, but it is important what you do with it if it comes to you. What is this all about, Sara? What has caused you to join this chain of pain?
Sara, feeling rather sick to her stomach, told Solomon about the new boy, Donald, and of his first day in class. She told Solomon about the bullies who seemed to find never-ending things to tease Donald about. She told Solomon about the alarming incident that had just taken place in the hallway. And as she relived what had happened, as she was describing them to Solomon, she felt her painful anger growing again, and a tear pushed out of her eye and rolled down her cheek. She angrily wiped it away with the back of her sleeve, truly irritated that instead of her unusual happy chatter with Solomon, she was now sniffling and blubbering. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be with Solomon. Solomon was quiet for a long while as scattered, disconnected thoughts shot about Sara's mind. Sara could feel Solomon watching her with his big loving eyes, but she didn't feel self-conscious. It almost felt as if Solomon was drawing something out of her. Well, it's clear what I don't want, Sara thought. I don't want to feel like this, especially when I'm talking with Solomon.
That's very good, Sara. You have just consciously taken the first step in ending the chain of pain. You have consciously recognized what you do not want.
And that's good? Sara questioned. It doesn't feel so good.
That's only because you have only taken the first step, Sara. There are 3 more.
What is the next step, Solomon?
Well, Sarah, it isn't hard to figure out what you don't want. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I guess I do. I mean, I think I usually know that.
How do you know that you are thinking about what you don't want?
I can just sort of tell.
You can tell by the way you feel, Sarah. When you are thinking about or speaking about something that you don't want, you always feel negative emotion. You feel anger or disappointment or embarrassment or guilt or fear. You always feel bad when you are thinking about something you don't want.
Sarah thought back over the last few days, during which she had experienced more negative emotion than usual.
You're right, Solomon, Sarah announced.
I've been feeling more of that this last week. Watching those boys being mean to Donald. I've been so happy since meeting you, Solomon, and then so mad about them teasing Donald. I can see how the way I feel has to do with what I'm thinking about.
Good, Sarah. Now, let's talk about step 2. Whenever you know what you don't want, isn't it rather easy to figure out what you do want?
Well, Sarah trailed off, wanting to understand, but still unsure.
When you are sick, what is it that you want?
I want to feel better, Sarah replied easily.
When you don't have enough money to buy something that you want, then what do you want?
I want more money, Sarah replied.
You see, Sarah, that is step 2 of breaking the chain of pain. Step 1 is recognizing what you don't want. Step 2 is then deciding what you do want.
Well, that's easy enough. Sarah was beginning to feel better.
Step 3 is the most important step, Sarah, and it's a step that most people miss altogether. Step 3 is this. Once you have identified what it is that you do want, you must make that feel real. You must talk about why you want it. Describe what it would be like to have it. Explain it, pretend it, or remember another time like it. But keep thinking about it until you find that feeling place. Continue to talk to yourself about what it is that you do want until you feel good.
As Sarah listened to Solomon actually encouraging her to spend time on purpose, imagining things in her own mind, she could hardly believe her ears. She had gotten into serious trouble for that very thing on more than one occasion. It seemed that what Solomon was telling her was exactly opposite of what her teachers in school were telling her. But she had come to trust Solomon, and she was certainly willing to try something different. Their way obviously wasn't working. Why is step 3 the most important step, Solomon?
Because until you change the way you feel, you haven't really changed anything. You are still part of the chain of pain. But when you change the way you feel, you are part of a different chain. You have joined Solomon's chain, so to speak.
What do you call your chain, Solomon?
Well, I don't really call it anything. It's more about feeling it. But you might call it the chain of joy or the chain of well-being, the chain of feeling good. It's a natural chain, Sara. It is truly who we all are.
Well, if it's natural, if it's who we all are, why aren't more of us feeling good more of the time?
People truly want to feel good, and most people want very much to be good. And that is a big part of the problem.
What do you mean? How can wanting to be good to be a problem?
Well, Sara, people want to be good, so they look around them at the way others are living in order to decide what is good. They look at the conditions that surround them, and they see things that they believe are good, and they see things that they believe are bad.
And that's bad? I don't see. What's bad about that, Solomon?
What I have noticed, Sara, is that as they are looking at conditions, good ones and bad ones, most people aren't aware of how they are feeling. And that is what goes wrong for most of them. Rather than being aware of how what they are looking at is affecting them. In their quest for goodness, they keep searching out badness and trying to push that away. The trouble with that, Sara, is that the whole time they are trying to push away what they think is bad, they have joined the chain of pain. People are much more interested in looking at and analyzing and comparing the conditions than they are aware of how they are feeling. And often the conditions drags them right off into the chain of pain. Sara, think back over the past few days and try to remember some of the strong feeling that you had. What was happening as you were feeling bad this week, Sara?
I felt awful when Tommy and Lynn were teasing Donald. I felt awful when the kids laughed at Donald in class. And I felt the very worst of all when Donald yelled at me. All I was trying to do was help me, Solomon.
Good, Sara. Let's talk about this. During those times that you were feeling so bad, what were you doing?
I don't know, Solomon. I wasn't really doing anything. I was mostly just watching, I guess.
That is
exactly right, Sarah. You were observing conditions, but the condition that you were choosing to observe was a kind that make you join the chain of pain. But Solomon, Sarah argued, how can you not see something that's wrong and not feel bad when you see it?
That's a very good question, Sarah. And I promise you that in time I will answer it fully for you. I know that it's not easy to understand this all at once. And the reason that it's difficult to understand at first is because you have been trained to observe conditions, but you have not been trained to pay attention to how you feel when you are observing, and so the conditions seem to control your lives. If you are observing something good, you have a good feeling response. And if you are observing something bad, you have a bad feeling response. When the conditions seem to control your lives, that is frustrating for most of you. And that is what causes so many people to continue to join the chain of pain. Then, how can I stay out of the chain of pain so that I can help someone else out if they get in? Well, Sarah, there are lots of ways to do that. But my favorite, the one that works the very fastest of all, is this. Think thoughts of appreciation.
Appreciation?
Yes, Sarah. Focus on something or someone and try to find thoughts that make you feel the very best. Appreciate them just as much as you can. That is the very best way to join the chain of joy. Remember, step 1 is
knowing what I don't want, Sarah answered proudly. She had that one down pat.
And step 2 is
knowing what I do want.
That's very good, Sarah. And step 3 is Oh, Solomon, I forget.
Sarah whined, disappointed at herself for forgetting so soon.
Step 3 is finding the feeling place of what you do want. Talking about what you do want until you feel like you are already there.
Solomon, you never told me what step 4 is, Sarah remembered excitedly.
Oh, step 4 is the best part, Sarah. That is when you get what you want. Step 4 is a physical manifestation of your desire. Have fun with this, Sarah. Don't try too hard to remember all of this. Just practice appreciation.
That's the key.
You had better run along now, Sarah. We can talk more about this tomorrow.
Appreciation, Sarah pondered. I will try to think of things to appreciate.
Her little brother Jason
was the first image that came to her mind. Boy, this is going to be hard, Sara thought, as she began walking from Solomon's thicket. Start with something easier, Solomon called as he lifted from his post. Yeah, right, Sara laughed. I love you, Solomon, she thought. I love you too, Sara. Sara heard Solomon's voice clearly, even though he had flown far from her view.